Rabbi Akiva, Ashreichem Yisrael, Ashreichem, Ashreichem, Ashreichem Yisrael, Ashreichem, Ashreichem Yisrael, Lifnei mi, atem miteharim mi metaerechem, Lifnei mi, atem miteharim mi metaerechem, Avichem shebashamayim, Avichem shebashamayim, Avichem shebashamayim, Avichem shebashamayim, Ve'omer mikve Yisrael Hashem, Ve'omer mikve Yisrael Hashem, Ma'amikve metares atmei, HaKadosh Baruch Hu metares Yisrael, Ma'amikve metares atmei, HaKadosh Baruch Hu metares Yisrael, Ashreichem Yisrael, Lifnei mi, atem miteharim mi metaerechem, Lifnei mi, atem miteharim mi metaerechem, Ayad la 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 special all year long, and it gets even more special on Lag BaOmer. Very special. And but it's to me the most special nigun to sing the night before Shavuot. The night before Shavuot. This is the best night in the world. The night before Shavuot is so precious. Listen to the words. Lifnei mi atam mitaharim. Before who are you purifying yourselves? Umei metar heschem. And who is purifying you? Avichem shel Hashemayim, your Father in heaven. So I think I saw this once in Slonim many years ago. I don't remember exactly where I saw it, but this is beautiful. Lifnei mi, before me. Before me is Gematria 50. Before the 50th day, atem mitaharim. You're trying to do whatever you're trying to do. Lifnei mi atem mitaharim. Before the 50th day, you're working on yourself. You're doing all Sfiras HaOmer stuff, tikkunim, whatnot. You're trying so hard to work on whatever it is that's important to you. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you're working on something, right? But then, umi metar eschem. Me, the 50th day, is mamish your mikveh. Umi, the 50th day, is really your mikveh. Maha mikveh metares atmeim, the 50th day purifies the impure. HaKadosh Baruch Hu metares Yisrael, God is purifying Am Yisrael. You know how, you ever have that feeling? I mean, this is more for men, really. Just because with women, the whole Inyan of mikveh is really when you get married. But for men, when you're just feeling like you're not in the right place and you want to start fresh, you just want to jump in a mikveh and start all over again, everything, right? But what's that Inyan? So what is it? It's like Shavuos is this thing of you jump into it. Umi metar eschem, the day itself of Shavuos is mamish matar you, mamish purifies you. So we'll sing it one more time with this kavana. Lifnei mi atam mitaharim u'mi mitar esam. Before me, before the 50th day, you're doing your thing, you have to start, but we're right before it. We're going to count, if you didn't count already, we're going to count the last one. So this is still our avodah. So if we know that on the 50th day, which is Shavuot, it's God's avodah, so what do you think that would mean? Oh, whatever, I'll just do whatever I want to do because, hey, the 50th day is coming and I don't have to work too hard and anything. No. Tonight's the test. If you know that you're going to be completely purified by receiving the Torah Shavuos night, how much more are you showing God the night before that takes place? I want to be part of it too. I don't just want this to be your doing. I want to be part of it also. I'm gonna be a kiva, Ashrechem Yisrael. I'm gonna be a kiva, Ashrechem Yisrael. Ashrechem Yisrael. Ashrechem Yisrael. Lifnei mi atam mitaharim mitar esem. Lifnei mi atam mitaharim mitar esem. Avichem shebashamayim, Avichem shebashamayim, Avichem shebashamayim, Avichem shebashamayim, Be'oimer Be'oimer mikveh Yisrael Hashem, Be'oimer mikveh Yisrael Hashem. Ma'am mikveh metar esatmei, Av HaKadosh Baruch Hu metar et Yisrael. Ma'am mikveh metar esatmei, Av HaKadosh Baruch Hu metar et right before the 50th. I'm very, very excited. I'm most excited when I plan on learning something with you, and then when we get together, it's like the last thing in the world I want to do. Those always mean that it's going to be either the worst or the best. Whatever it is, it is. There's barely any time left to prepare ourselves. But for whatever it's worth, I'm just so happy we're here together right now, and welcome to all the students online as well. Second, I want to make sure you could all hear me. It's a beautiful chevri.
And see you.
You could all hear and see. Apologies for last week not turning on the camera. But 5 people walked in tonight. Before they said hello to me, they said, make sure your camera's on. So hopefully we're doing good. All right, may the learning tonight, enough already. Be the refuah shlema. Enough of having to say this even. From Michal Moshe Ze'ev ben Yehudit, Alter Baruch ben Sarah, ben Yemen Nachman Mordechai ben Ilana, Shoshana Resa Bas Ahuva. Also this week, there's a lot of yortzeit this week. Later this week is David Zeller's yortzeit Alav Shalom. I want to do tonight's learning in his memory also. Also Natan Daniel ben Malka, of course, and many more, unfortunately. But hopefully this is the end of the refuah shlema, because Matan Torah, it says when we stood at Mount Sinai, there was a complete healing. Deaf people could hear, blind people could see, people with limbs were able to walk. Every type of illness was cured at Matan Torah. And tonight we're going to understand why. Why, how could it be that everyone was healed? What is it about standing at Matan Torah, hearing God's voice, is healing? Well, that's a gift. I mean, I kind of gave it away right now. If you would hear God's voice too, you'd also be healed right now. Guess what? It's possible. It's possible. We spoke about it on Shabbos a little bit. And also, we'll continue learning. Leilui Nishmas Stui's Abba, Chazan Eliezer ben Eliyahu Aryeh, Nadir's parents, Yitzchak, Zachariah ben Avraham, and Miriam bat Avraham. This is what happens. I have so much to share, but I actually want to start with something that I wasn't even planning on doing. But you'll see why. I want to show you why learning with you guys is the coolest thing that I could have ever asked for. I'll tell you why. I want to share with you an email, a Facebook letter, a note that I just got right now. This is from a student of ours for a while already. And when I get notes like this, I remember what everything is about. I remember what the whole thing is about. And I know somehow, even though it wasn't planned, it'll tune into what we're learning tonight. Shlomo, what's real? Not what's up or how are you. Shlomo, what's real? Starting off. How can we live with such honesty? It would break us. It would break any chance we have. But on the other hand, there's no choice. The truth is staring right at us. I so want to believe that Mashiach is coming. I don't even know what that means anymore. I want to know that we have hope, that we are stronger than ever. I don't understand. Have a good day. But no, he didn't write that. He just ended off like that. And it's those letters, I tell you, it's those letters. These happen quite often. Like a few weeks ago, we have one of our students, wrote me, not, hey Shlomo, what's up, this and that. It's more like, why did God create us? And then the person wrote, and I'm so happy I could just ask you these things without going through hey Shlomo, how are you? There's no time for this stuff anymore. So, when I hear someone that had with such honesty and such a dire need to not impress me, which I am in love with, I want you to know. Not that the guy writes me and tells me, I want you to know how much I'm so frum now, whatever. But when the guy is saying, listen, we're learning, and if we're not going to be totally honest right now, it's going to break us, that to me is called flying. That to me is like harmony. It's the best thing in the world. And what's also cool is that he knows that there's no chance in the world I'm going to give him an answer to what he just asked me, because there is no answer. There's an experience. And because tomorrow night, this Shavuot, this machloket, if it's the first day of Shavuot, or if you're in America, out of Israel, second day of Shavuot, it's the yortzeit of the master of experience, of the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh. I wanted to speak about this tomorrow night. If you're here in Efrat, our shir at 1 o'clock will be about the legacy of the Baal Shem Tov. What did he bring down into the world? I'm just going to give a glimpse into it right now, because it has to do with what we're doing tonight. The Baal Shem Tov's whole thing was that we have to go back to a forgotten art. What was this forgotten art? To experience God. There were great learners, there were tremendous beki'im, there were prolific learners and authors and scholars in Am Yisrael. However, the experiential part of Judaism was something that was not taken seriously, and so the simple folk felt, well, if that's all we have anyway, just the experience of it, and it doesn't mean that much, that means we can't really be found here. And the Baal Shem Tov comes along and tells you, what are you talking about? The whole thing is l'chavaya. The whole thing is experiencing. Remember, what's the name of the first mother in the world? Chava. What is Chava? So you could see either Em Kol Chai or the one who experiences. Lachvot, the one to go through what we're going through. And in a recent discussion I had with my Chavruta in LA, and I told him, I'm doing great on a lot of fronts. Still not sure about that believing thing, but I'm definitely doing a good on a lot of other things. He said to me, stop worrying about if you believe or not. Just try to catch yourself when you experience God. Now, for us FFBs, okay, for us from births, I once heard a good term, FFBW, from birth with G, with gaps, I think. I heard that term once. FFBWG. Whatever, however you were.
Lapses, maybe.
Huh?
Lapses.
With D's, with detours, yeah. I don't know anybody like that, right? So, we think there's something that they didn't tell us. I don't know why they didn't tell us it, but I pray, Dafka Erev Shavuos, I pray more than ever, that I figure out, more than anything I could ever teach my children, to explain to them and pray that they understand that the chavaya, the experience of experiencing the Ribono Shel Olam, is really what it's all about. Now the only way, obviously, that it's real, that you really do experience the Ribono Shel Olam, is through davening and learning and davening and learning and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But the experience is a must. And on Matan Torah, is it what we learned which healed us? Not necessarily. Because each shlepper in the world, no matter where they were holding, went through the experience and was healed. Each shlepper that we had, that existed in Am Yisrael. So it's the experience that mamish healed us. The experiencing Ribono Shel Olam. So having said all that, now let's go from the top. This is something really, if you think about it, it's tremendous. Shavuot is the most underrated holiday in the calendar. Most underrated. How do we usually judge something's gedula, something's greatness or not? It's usually judged based upon how much hachana, how much preparation there is for the holiday. Now let's look at the Shalosh Regalim, let's look at the 3 festivals. When it comes to Sukkot, I only have 5 days, but I'm going nuts with the Sukkah. Daled Minim, of course all my tickets to the concerts and festivals and Chol HaMoed, that's part of the whole mitzvah d'oraisa of going to party hard and on Sukkot. And I'm very, very preoccupied, as much as I can, from Motzei Yom Kippur till Sukkot, with making sure that I'm ready, no matter what. And it's all about the hachanot. Did I get a good love and etrog? How beautiful is my sukkah? All my preparations, whatever it is. But what about now, Pesach? Pesach. When it comes to hachanot of Pesach, the preparations of Pesach, it doesn't get any more stringent and busier and holier than that. How do I know if I feel prepared? Pesach night comes. Chaver, please focus. There's a lot going on. I'm begging everyone, just focus and open your hearts, please. It's not about me, it's about the 50th night, okay? How do I know if I'm ready for Pesach? Well, Pesach night, if you're exhausted, right? And we were saying last night in Yerushalayim that, some people have this strong minhag that you start the minute after Purim, because usually it's 30 days, Shloshim Yom Kodem L'Chag, 30 days before Pesach, I'm getting ready. And then what? But we all know that most Yiddish mamas start getting ready 364 days before Pesach to start cleaning. Motzei Pesach, right? I actually have a friend that in his house, I'm sure you've seen it also, all year long, you can't take the Svarim off the shelves and put it on the Shabbos table. Now, I don't know if that's like a cop-out, or that's like the holiest thing in the world, that they're saying, listen, maybe Pesach, we're going to want to look at one of these Svarim, and what's going to be when there's a crumb inside? How are we going to look at it, right? So I'm not sure yet if it's like the holiest cop-out in the world or not. But no matter what way you look at it, there are hachanot. Shavuot comes. How do you prepare for Shavuot? Do you realize that every single thing we're working hard on in our lives, like Reb Chaim Vital says, the student of the Arizal, everything is dependent on Shavuot night? The holiday of receiving the Torah. Without the Torah, I don't have Pesach. I don't have Sukkot. I don't have Rosh Hashanah. I don't have Yom Kippur. I definitely don't have Torah Sheba'al Peh, Chanukah, Purim. I have nothing. And yet, really, the big holidays are those which are much longer and many more things have to do with it. What's Shavuos? What's the hachana for Shavuos?
Make a cheesecake.
It should be the hardest hachana you have. But what's the, what is the prep? Sorry? So Sfirat HaOmer is the easiest way to lose touch with Shavuot, even though that's what it was supposed to be. Like we learned. Rabbi Natan of Breslov said that Sfirat HaOmer is the mitzvah of getting in touch with passion. Usfartem lachem, every night you have to get in touch with being passionate. And every day, how much more and more passion do you have? Well, last night, we didn't count yet, but how much was last night's counting, everybody?
48.
48, right? We had 48 days to get passionate. I want to ask a very hard question. And I hate asking this question. I hate it. But this room has got to be about being dirty real. You know what dirty real is? It's like you just, all the grease, whatever it is that you're scared to ever admit to. Here, Baruch Hashem, Bina has the holiest matateh, the holiest broom. Everyone's grease, it's the holiest grease in the world. We combine with piles over here, We grease it up. We had 48 nights to become so excited for tomorrow night. 48 nights! If I had an idea what's happening in the world tomorrow night, is there any way in the world that anything in my life could still be the same if I had 48 nights to become passionate? What could be the same? So I'm kind of banking on mi mitar eschem, I guess, that the 50th day is what really purifies you, right? But I feel like tonight, the Slonimer Rebbe says, everyone comes the night before Shavuos. And just like every chassan and kala come the night before their wedding. And even though, everyone says, so are you ready? And inside, am I ready? Are you kidding me? I mean, of course, this is the woman of my dreams, but am I ready? Who could say they're ready for their chuppah? What does that mean to be ready for perfection, for a moment of perfection? Are you ready to experience? That's already something else. Are you ready to open your heart and let yourself just feel what's going on? That's already something else. So I want to understand with you all, why is A, Shavuot the most underrated holiday in the world? But B, why is Shavuot also known as the night of Tikkun? Shavuot is called Tikkun Leil Shavuot. There's a Tikkun that takes place Leil Shavuot, right? It's known as the night of Tikkun. Now, for some reason, Tikkun became this 20th century Hasidic concept. It's not. Tikkun, to fix ourselves, it's nothing to do with right now. It's many, many centuries. But I want to share with you something that we learned a few years ago, which will help us understand what we're busy doing Shavuos night. Tikkun, fixing, Reb Nachman says, is the same letters as the word kinot, Lamentations, right? It's also the same words as tinok, which means baby. And it's also the same letters as the word nituk, which means a disconnect. So I want to go again. Tikkun, kinot, tinok, nituk. We usually don't play around with words here tonight, but I don't know if tonight I feel it very, very strong, okay? Very, very strong. These four words with the same letters are very, very, very connected to each other. Extremely connected to each other. We learned in the beginning of Sfirat Omer in Simchat Shlomo in Yerushalayim, we asked the question, do any of us stand a chance of regaining our innocence in this world and becoming tamim again? Becoming pure, innocent, quiet again, like a baby. Because the Torah says, what is the job, what's the purpose of these 7 weeks? Sheva Shabbatot Tmimot. So can you regain this purity, that world of mamish thinking that really everything is okay, and no one harms anybody, and there's no way that I could harm anyone, and no bad was ever done, which according to the Ishbitzer is eventually where all of us are going to be getting to at the end of days. The question is, can you do that already right now? Can you really believe that you could become tamim again? Now listen to this. Shavuos night is the one night of the tikkun where the tinok, all my life, the tinok in me, the kid in me, is saying kinot, is saying lamentations over the fact that what? That my first act in this world was a nituk, was a disconnect. Think of it. What's the first thing that happened to us as human beings out in this world? We were disconnected from our source. The nituk happens the second we come into this world. And then we're saying kinot, then we're lamenting for our whole lives. Why? Over what? Over the Torah which we forgot. What are we crying? This is so gewalt. What are we crying over our whole lives? Whether we realize it or not. When we were in the stomach, we had those months with the malach. Again, just want to say something. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Meaning, no. Meaning like, I could say these things because we know that this is our masoret. I don't know what it means that we learned Torah with the malach in the womb. I just know that the night, huh? Well, I actually have a deeper, is my mom online?
No, she's at a choir.
So the night before I was born, my mom says that my dad kept on rolling over and smacking my mom over here the whole night. Mamish, right over here, where they actually say is where, and my father is a man. My father is like, if anybody knows my Abba, he is like a total, he is a malach. So it was like weird stuff by me the night before I was born. So my parents tell me the night before, right over here, I'm being hit over here. And malach is an angel. So again, what does that mean? We learned Torah the malach. I don't know what it means. But I don't know if you remember, some of you were learning with us 2 or 3 years ago, and we learned that a mother, once she gives birth, remember what we learned about her? What kind of state is she in a little bit after birth? Do you remember
Very high.
Like the 8th, what was it?
Well, not exactly high. Not exactly high. Does anyone remember?
We said that she was like removed.
She was like sitting shiva. That's what we said. Because what is she sitting shiva over? The closeness that she felt of being one with her fetus. As high as that moment is, and it's something that, again, I definitely don't know what I'm talking about now, right? But I could just imagine the mamas in the room, and the mamas to be in the room will understand this, that loss of that oneness, of that chibur, you can't fathom, but it's something that every mother has to go through. But our neshamas, forget, each of us are born, that means that on a certain level, each of us went through this trauma as a tinok of nituk. And therefore, on a certain level, we're saying kinos. We're lamenting our own destruction of our little Beis HaMikdash that we were in the womb. But one night a year, we are back in the womb again. And that's why it's a tikkun for the kinot I said, for the nituk that took place, and for the tinok that's within me. Do you see how deep this is? This is mind-bogglingly deep. How am I back in the womb, Shavuos night? How is that? I thought it's a marriage. A baby marriage, I thought we're dealing with marriage, or I thought, that being born was Pesach. Maybe Pesach was the conceiving. But on a certain level, Shavuot of receiving the Torah, is literally a birth. I'm back, I'm in this world. I'm healing my childhood. I'm healing a lot of stuff. By the way, we speak about this a lot here. Come on, all we go through is really build-ups of the child within us. Everything that you and I are still going through, it all has to do with the kid in us. Everything we go through. But Shavuos night, there's something in the air, there's something that happens to us, which is a clear connection to tikkun. That there's a complete fixing going on in the world. Have any of you ever done tikkun leil Shavuot? Not staying up all night. I mean, meaning that too, but you know what the tikkun is, right? The tikkun leil Shavuot. Basically, you read the first few psukim of the beginning and the end of each parak in Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim. And you go through the whole Tanakh, connecting the beginnings to the end, and you go through the whole Torah, from beginning to end. You know what's so funny, Shavuos night? You ever see those guys that get ready for Shavuos night? They carry with them every sefer they ever got since the Bar Mitzvah. They come to shul, right? But really, if you think about it time-wise, how much longer is Shavuos night than one morning seder in a yeshiva? If that, right? I mean, when do you start learning? Right? So I was saying, until you get out, you have to justify those extra 3 cups of coffee because, hey, tonight I got to be totally awake. And then you go to that first year, and then you starts a little bit towards the end. And then like, okay, got to go up for some more coffee. Then, so then you're ready. It's already 1 a.m., right? So then you have, more time. And then, whatever, then it's time. Obviously, God wants me to be up. Not, if I'm learning and I'm like shluffing, I got to be up. What are you doing? Whatever, I'm going out for air. The night of Shavuos can be the most mifusfas night in the world. And I want to say something a little bit radical, but just bear with me. Don't throw rocks on me yet. Just listen to it. Maybe it used to be a time in Am Yisrael that Shavuos night was all about learning. Maybe that's what it used to be about. But I have a really strong feeling that Shavuos night has to become more and more and more a night of davening, and a night of singing, and a night of experiencing. Last year we had a Gevalt. I thought we were going to do it this year. It didn't work out. But last year in Yerushalayim, we were in Mayanot. And the last 2 hours, who can learn? Who can go to a shir about, Shmuel Bet at 2:30 in the morning? Come on, even with the most radical title. I mean, I was just at a rabbi's office a few hours ago. He had a good one going, a really good title, which even I would consider learning at such a late hour. He was saying the whole story of Ruth, and it was called "The Making of a Mashiach." It sounds pretty cool, right? But as much as we would like to be awake, if we're not taking 5-hour shlips erev Shavuos, we're not going to really be. We might be able to stay awake by putting toothpicks in our eyes like this, but it's not going to be the night of the real learning. So what is taking place in those few hours that is mamish called a tikkun? You know what? We are going to go into here. We are going to go into here. Okay, we're going to go into here because it's a little bit of, and I think we did a little bit of this a few years ago, but it's since then it's been re-edited a few times, and there's a lot going on here. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but we'll go through as much as we can over here. Web Yeshiva students, this is the page that's in front of you right now. Okay.
Oh, maybe it's the everybody coming together, that's the tikkun for the new too. I just think of the kotel, and it's not only learning, it's just
being together? Could be.
the streets full of people.
Could be. I would say that's all the Sfirat Omer with Yom Yerushalayim and Yom Ha'atzmaut and Lag BaOmer. It's all part of the Hitkalelut of coming together. Yeah, by the way, if there's words you don't understand, it's not because of my accent, it's just in Hebrew or Yiddish, so ask me. Okay, really, Demet. And I forgot to say this. All Web Yeshiva students, please email me your questions. I usually don't look at the chat while we're learning, so please email me all your questions. All right. You got to the back? You guys got it? No, not yet. Yeah?
Yeah.
You did. Okay. Chevra, let's look inside. Let's not waste a minute. I think what we're going to be learning now is not going to answer our questions. It'll just make this awesome Chag that much more incredible. Rabbi Shlomo says like this. Do you know what the highest level in life is? The highest level in life is when everything is connected to me and I'm connected to everything. Now, whose chiddush is that, by the way? That's the Baal Shem Tov, Mamish classic Baal Shem Tov. This honestly, again, because what does this basically mean? It means everything's an experience. I'm connected to everything and everything is connected to me. Pashut Pshat right now. The highest level in life is when everything is connected to me and I am connected to everything. The Holy Baal Shem Tov says that when I walk on the street and I see two drunkards talking to each other and I overhear their conversation, that means it's meant for me, because if it wouldn't be meant for me, I wouldn't hear it. What do you guys think about that? If I have no shayachut to it, if I'm not kashur to it at all, then why would I need to hear? Meaning the reason I'm hearing it is for a million reasons. Is it mamish that I need to learn from it? Maybe it's for me to decide what places not to walk into.
Maybe the question is how you were hearing it. If you're hearing it because you're standing there eavesdropping, or if you're hearing it because you were walking by and somehow the words.
Choliot. No, I'm saying like that means you're shayach to it. Not that it has to do with your life, But it has to do with your cheshbon nefesh, like you said, eavesdropping, not eavesdropping. Yesh lecha is a kesher lezeh, no matter what it is. Okay?
That's what you're saying.
Oh wow, that's gewalt.
That
That's so deep. That's so deep. We say that? Say it so everyone understands, if you don't mind.
Last Shabbos we read the Pasha, the Sota, the woman that's a little bit under suspicion, and then the holy hippie, the Nazir. So everyone says why they connected. So imagine you go up to the temple. I asked you, what did you see in the temple? Someone says, the temple was unbelievable. I saw the high priest officiating. So now it says the temple, you're kidding, the way the Levites sang, it was deeper than anything I can imagine. Someone else says the temple, all types of Jews coming and doing tshuva and repenting and fixing. Someone else says, I saw this woman there, I was like the paparazzi and I was the tabloid, and I saw this woman was under suspicion of having extra hours after work with her boss, and her husband warned her and she has to drink this water. That's what I saw in the temple. So if that's what you saw in the temple, it means that a little bit your soul's connected. That you could have come back describing this high spiritual experience. And the one thing that you saw and you were focused on was what? So everything you hear during the Sfirat HaOmer is connected a little bit.
Right.
So that day, any conversation you hear, any little...
That's also Rabbi Shlomo said many times that if this sounds so funny, but it's like the pshat of what we just said right now. If you're walking down the street and you see somebody that's ugly, then he would say in the Baal Shem Tov, "Gewalt, are you ugly?" Those are his words. He said it a few times.
Just say, "Kol mikam shadam roa chutz nigei atzmo." All the faults and defects that you see on the outside.
Nigei atzmo. Okay, look back inside. Imagine somebody were to tell you, did you see the newspapers in Alaska? Somebody yelled at his brother. I say, listen, this is crazy. It's not my concern. Well, that's very sweet, but obviously you're not that connected, because if it has nothing to do with you, you wouldn't have known about it. And I'm always reminded about this incredible story I once heard about a Breslover Chassid in Yerushalayim in the 1920s, who was found sitting on a street corner in Mea Shearim bawling. So someone asked him, Rabbi, why are you crying so much? He said, because I just read in the newspaper that a few months ago in China, 30 Chinamen, businessmen, construction men, were killed in an accident. So the guy says to him, okay, why are you crying? And then when he looked at him and he started laughing, the Breslover started laughing hysterically. Not hysterically, but with such simcha. He said, okay, now, why are you laughing? So the chassid said, you don't understand. When I realized that I'm living a Torah of the Baal Shem Tov, it made me the happiest in the world. Meaning, when I realized that when I hear about something that happens to people that have nothing to do with me, and it actually affects my neshama because I know that if it didn't have anything to do with me, I wouldn't hear about it. Ashreinu matov chalkeinu, that we're that kind of people, It's such an amazing way of understanding this Torah of the Baal Shem Tov. It's like this whole yesod of that everything that happens to me, that everything that I know, like you can go crazy. I'll tell you why. Because when I first learned this Torah, I'll tell you why. You might leave our house, right? And then you'll start noticing the cars, and you'll start wondering, well, why did I see 8 blue cars and 7 red cars on the way home? It's not what we're talking about, although I'm sure even there's something going on that has to do with you. That's like that cool thing about what's his name? God? Is that everything is so like we think, oh, he shows up sometimes. No. God is either everything or nothing. We've said that so many times. Your choice. Shavuot night's a good time to choose the everything part, right? Okay, now, there's a story here that I dafka don't want to do now because we don't have that much time, but make sure you read it. I want now turn the page, and you'll see, you'll go over it at home, but turn the page. Third paragraph. Sorry, second paragraph. You'll see what the story is. I just want to bless you and bless me back. That everything in the world should remind us of fixing. Everything in the world should fix us, and we should fix it back. Meaning, they have to understand every relationship, everything you go through, has to do with your tikkun of the neshama, with your fixing of your soul. Everything in this world. Not that you have to take on everything that comes your way. Listen, for many people, the avoda is how to say no. That's a fixing. I told you the story. Our dear friend, I'm not going to say her name, one of our friends, many of you know, for many years, before she was married, she asked Rabbi Shlomo for a bracha to get married, and Rabbi Shlomo told her, sister, I give you the bracha to know when to say no. That bracha saved her life because she said no and then said yes to the right person who's her husband for 35 years. So, to know, meaning, I don't want to confuse you because you could go nuts with this teaching. Everything has to do with me, it's all part of my fixing. That doesn't mean that now everything that happens to you, that you hear about and see, is like, so how am I supposed to be part of this? Maybe some people have to develop the kelim of gvura, not just chesed, and say, wow, okay, Hashem is showing me so many opportunities in order to build my gvura, to say no, because look, most of us, Baruch Hashem, it should be our biggest problem. But the little that I know of anybody in this room, most of us suffer from the same thing. You know what that word is? It's called pleasing. Pleasing people. It comes from a beautiful place. It's totally paralyzed our lives at a certain point. It comes from a beautiful place. But pleasing? Who doesn't want to please? So the tikkun for pleasing over here would be what? That not everything in the world has to do with me. I have to choose and say, you know what? I'm choosing that this is not my derech. You could lose your brain if you go to, when you're looking for a Rebbe. There's so many tzaddikim or holy, you go to deep spiritual people, you could lose your brain thinking that, look, I have to go to everyone and hear what they all have to say. Do you know how many people you end up hating if you listen to what every Rebbe says? It's no other way. I learned a great thing once from another. It's like a very spooky shir because everything's remaining nameless tonight. But another person that many of us know, that I once called him. I was with a certain Rebbe. This is like 12 years ago. And I said to him, brother, come. I'm right now I'm sitting with the so and so Rebbe. I'm hanging out with him. And he said to me, it's not so much my thing these days. And at first I'm like, wow, he fried out. He's what a burnout. And then I realized, what are you talking about? First of all, like most of my friends, he's 25 years older than you. And he went through much more than you did. So he went through those circuits of like going and seeing from here and seeing from there. At a certain point, you have to know, respect and love everybody. But also understand that God is giving you a chance by everyone you meet to refine your place in the world. That's part of the tikkun. In fact, it might be a bigger part of the tikkun than the other part. You see what it is? If someone is, God forbid, physically sick, my fixing medicine, Web Yeshiva students, I should have changed the page for you. Third paragraph, you see what it is? If someone is, God forbid, physically sick, my fixing medicine might be somewhere in Alaska or in China. When, God forbid, my soul is sick, whatever I need for fixing is right here. It's always right here with me. Wherever my soul is, wherever I am, that is where the fixing is. Samcha, it's Basher, you're here. Your father-in-law. I once found a tape in the archives of your father-in-law doing chazara of spending a Shabbos with Rabbi Shlomo Parshat Re'eh, and he remembered the Torah Rabbi Shlomo said that the Parsha says, pasuk says, Re'eh anochi noten lifnechem hayom bracha u'klala. Behold, look, I am placing before you today a blessing and a curse. And Rabbi Shlomo taught from that. He said it on many different occasions, in many different ways, that whatever you need in order to fix your life is lifneichem hayom, is before you today. We always think when we have a big awakening to do good things and start getting our lives in order, what is usually the physical distance or the spiritual distance between where my heart is and what I think fixing means? It's usually like a few plane trips away. You're usually very far. But could it be right here next to me? Shavuot night, the whole thing of Shavuot night is that whatever you need in order to get your act together, whatever it is you need to work on those things in your life that cannot be ignored, is right here in front of you now. Why? Because you are wherever your soul is. This will become a bit clearer right now. I want to share something very deep with you. Do you know what the fixing of the soul is? Imagine I have to go to New York. So if I'm in San Francisco, by the way, this teaching was 2 days before Shavuot, 1976, in San Francisco. Imagine I have to go to New York, so if I'm in San Francisco, I have to go east. If I want to go to Los Angeles, I'm going south. If I want to go to Hawaii, I'm going west. Is that true, by the way? Is Hawaii west of... So, not whatever.
Yeah.
It is. It's west or southwest?
Southwest.
Southwest,
but it's
yeah.
still west.
Now imagine I'm sitting on a train going east, and I think I'm going to Hawaii. So suddenly, while I'm sitting on the train talking to people, telling them, "Oh, I'm so glad I'm going to Hawaii," people start to say, "Are you crazy? You're going east. You better go west." But you know what I have to do? So first I have to go... Did that happen to anybody in this room, by the way? It did? Are you kidding? What happened?
Oh, I was once going up to Spot, and then I was on a bus going to Netivot. I went all the way down.
No, I see.
There's a reason that you did that.
I could see how you get confused between Tzfat and Netivot. Okay. Yeah, my cousin had it worse. He's sitting on a plane, my cousin Richie, he's sitting on a plane, and his travel agent made remember this, he made arrangements to go to San Jose, okay? There's San Jose, California, which is in Northern California, and there's San Jose, which is the capital of Costa Rica. He was wondering, why is everyone speaking Spanish on this plane? So he says, okay, what's that?
Both together.
Yeah, I love me too. So, again, physically, when I realize I'm going the wrong way, I have to start tracing back I got to take that bus from Netivot and go northbound and start, heading north. It's not like I can just turn around, oh, I'm there. That's when it comes to physically. So Rabbi Shlomo says like this, 5 lines from the bottom of this third to bottom paragraph. I have to change the train, and then I'm on my way to Hawaii. Now this is going to be a downer for all of you, because it's going to show us how we can't be cop-outs anymore. Imagine I go wrong on a spiritual level. I go the different direction. Do I have to first go back to where I began and take a different train only from there? No. Listen to how deep this is. And not just deep, but tachlis in our lives. The moment I realize I'm in the wrong direction, I'm already there. Meaning, remember that famous teaching of like, how long it takes to start going the right direction? Nothing. You just turn around. What's that?
Nothing.
Someone say something?
Yeah.
You'll tell me after. All you have to do is you just turn around. And then you're already in the right... Are you there yet? No. By the way, whoever tells you they're there, run as far away as you can from them. No one's there. Everyone's... Yismach lev mevakshe Hashem. Everyone's mevakshem. Everyone's trying to get there. So all you have to realize is, the wrong direction, I change my position. Spiritually, I'm in the right place already. I don't even have to turn around. It's always right there, but it takes so much strength. Now, this is great. This next paragraph is just great. You know what it is, friends? We feel much better when we feel we could be more guilty. What does that mean? This is a really trippy, it's a very non-classic statement of his. We always feel better if we're able to feel like schleppers and like kvetchers. It's like you walk around thinking, oy vey, I'm so sick, I'm so far gone, everything is so terrible, what a world. But if someone were to tell you it doesn't take any time to fix it, we wouldn't want to know, we wouldn't know what to do with them. We would like someone to tell us, oh, how sick we are. You have to go barefoot from here to India and from there to China, and then for 10 years you have to sit on a mountain and do nothing. And then for 20 years you have to scratch out your hair. Then your soul will be fixed and it will feel so good. But if someone tells you, bro, you don't have to do anything, you just have to realize that you're in the wrong direction, then we just don't know what to do with ourselves. Because could it be that just being in the right direction is the beginning of what's called a tikkun for ourselves? No, that can't be. I'm not going to see any flying carpets if I just realize where I am. I have to go to Uman 35,000 times by Mechila, and not to lessen for 1 second from going to Rabbi Nachman. You all know that Rabbi Nachman's Tzion is Kodesh. I'm not, God forbid, lessening from that, but we think, oh, I have to start getting back together. That means so and 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 so. Those kind of people don't end up being happy. You know why? Because in Tehillim it says, Zeh hayom asa Hashem nagila v'nismacha bo. Rabbi Shlomo says the people that have true happiness are the ones that are happy with hayom, with today. And they don't rely on tomorrow. They're happy with what's available for them right now. And what's available for them right now is to just get in the right direction. But it's frightening to think that all I have to do is just like Nasa es Rosh, B'nai Gershon, like we said last week. It's frightening to think, wait, so all I got to do is lift up my head from wherever I am? Yeah, kind of. Obviously, there's a lot more on the way. But the Western mentality, which has metamed, it's impurified our minds, bodies and souls, is that success is based on achievement. And that is Babylon. That's Bavel. That's Sheker. That is Amalek, and it's the lie of all lies. Success is not dependent on achievements at all. Success is dependent on how excited are you to know that all you got to do is get on, not even get on another bus. Is just realize that you're in the wrong place. Lubavitch Rebbe, Nishmato Eden, said that the greatest sign of someone who is sick is someone that doesn't know that they're sick. This is what we're talking about. So when does the tikkun begin? Once I just know that I'm sick. Because once I know that I'm sick, I'm already kind of healthy. Do you realize that? Once I know that I'm not doing good in a certain area and I'm aware of it, that was the beginning of my trufah. That was the beginning of my healing. So here he says, the holiness of Shavuos is when you hear God's word, it is so good. Everything just is good. You see, it's strange. For somebody to tell you that life is bad, you don't need God to tell you it's bad. But to hear the message that it's good, it really has to come from heaven. Because somehow, and you could cry a river over this, we're not conditioned to hear good things. Shavuos is the great morning when we mamish hear from God, I am God who took you out from Egypt, and I'm still around. And I'm still around. You know what that means? It's so... you think that when we come and receive the Torah, God wouldn't start going into like, I took you out of Egypt, I took you out of here. God would say, look how cool I am right now, right? Check out what I'm giving you right now. And that's not what happens. Because you know what Kadosh Baruch Hu was doing when he told us, I'm the God who took you out of Egypt, and I'm still around. Those 3 words Rabbi Shlomo said, I'm still around, means remember when you thought that everything was shmach? That was me in another disguise. I'm still around. That guy that helped you out of there, like we learned a few weeks ago, is there ever a reason to be mityaesh, to despair, once I look back at life and take a clear look at all those moments that I did despair, and I'm still here? You ever realize that? Did you ever despair? Of course you did. But what's the greatness about it? You look back and be like, wait a second, I'm still here. Last night we were learning with the Chaver in Yerushalayim, that's what it means. Shavuot, I said this in Melbourne. I realized I said this in Melbourne that on the album that the only Shavuot, it's in Evan Shlomo too, the only Shavuot, the only promise that each of us make Yom Kippur is when we come back to shul, we don't start checking out and saying, last year I took on so and so and so and so and so and so. How much of it did I keep? Because if I started doing accounting like that, I don't know if we'd have the guts to show up to shul when we look at our accounting and see how much we didn't keep that we promised. But what is the one thing that each of us can say? V'shafti b'shalom el beit avi. I don't know how much I kept or how much I didn't keep. I know one thing. I'm back. I'm here. So God says the same thing. I don't know either how much you think you kept or not. But that person that took you out of the beginning of your journey of slavery, I'm still around. You see, tikkun can be the most confusing word in the world. Because tikkun means something that is metukan, fixed, in the sense of, like, mashu metukan means, like if you go, like I had this laptop was broken for a while, and if it wasn't fixed and ready for me to use, they couldn't call me and say, Shma ze metukan, it's fixed, because if it's only 95% fixed, it's not fixed. It's just, they could say it's 5% broken. But to say that something is fixed means, we usually think that it means it's complete. You know what the beauty of Mount Sinai is? When you hear God's word and you experience Hashem talking to you, two things happen. One is that if it's real, you can't talk about it with anybody. You can't talk about it with anybody. That's why all the people that say, like we learned on Shabbos, I heard God say, or God spoke to me, that has nothing to do with anything. The Parsha, it says, the last pasuk, ובבוא משה אל אל מועד לדבר אליו מתוך האוהל וישמע את הקול מתדבר אליו, like we learned Shabbos afternoon shir. It means that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't speak about what God told him, because Rashi says that God never told him anything. What does Rashi say? That Moshe showed up to the place of tent of meeting and he would hear God talking amongst himself. And he would pick up what God was saying, like we learned on Shabbos. So I go back to the Tinok in me, to the third grader in Yavne Hebrew Academy in Los Angeles, Rabbi Tropper, who we used to call Rabbi Tripper. And he told us once, based on the Midrash, Kol Gadol Velo Yosef, that really from the time of Mount Sinai, God never stopped saying the Aseret Dibrot. And if you listen very closely, he said, with utter silence, you could still hear God saying to you, I love you, here's the Torah. So, a bunch of us freaks, we did some weird, our parents would find us in closets on our own, and, just like, shh, can we hear it or not? Like, because the voice is still going along. But this is like what it is. Tikkun Leil Shavuos. Shavuos is a night of perfection. Because you know what's perfect? Not your whole life, not your whole journey. But the moment of chavaya, the moment of experiencing the Ribono Shel Olam, is tamim, which means shalem, is perfect. It's complete. The minute you're able to describe it and talk about it, that means it wasn't that real. It's such a tricky thing in our life that when we experience those high moments, what's the first thing we want to do? We want to blog it. We want to post it. What a sick world. Whenever anything good happens to anybody, it's not the way. Like sometimes it's nice, but the real deep things you can't speak about. You cannot speak about these things. Tikkun Leil Shavuos, every Shavuos the tzaddikim say, there's a moment in the night where you have one moment, if you're really there and you do the right preparation, where you're just in the zone of the me, of the 50th day. No matter what time it is during Shavuos, whether it's, Baruch Hu Es Hashem, even if it's just Baruch Hu Hashem Barach, or whether it is the cheesecake, whatever it is, right? There are moments, each person has a moment of a tikkun. That tikkun means the experience of what it would mean to you to hear God's word. And what happens in that moment? Like what happened to us on Mount Sinai, there was a refu'ah shlema. There was a complete healing. When someone's physically ill, it means that there's a disconnect between their body and their soul. What did Matan Torah do for a moment? Even though it was too high and we begged Moshe to stop the moment because we didn't know what to do to ourselves, there was a complete chibur, there was a complete connection between our body and our souls. And when it's completely one, you're physically healed. And remember, the Hasidim say that right before the Baal Shem Tov was born, there was a complete disconnect between the soul of Am Yisrael and the body of Am Yisrael. And what do you have to do? What's a name in this world? What purpose does a name serve? A name connects your body to your soul. So God brought a person named Israel to the world, Yisrael Baal Shem Tov, to connect back Am Yisrael's body to its soul. Because we were dying spiritually, dying, and physically. So, first of all, I want you to know personally, and this is to everyone online and everyone that's with us, I do want to apologize that so many of you have added so much this past year. For me, Shavuot is a Rosh Hashanah. It really is, because like we said before, without Shavuot, I don't have Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Hanukkah, Tu B'Shvat. I don't have anything. It's such a weird thing. It's the most underrated holiday. So for me, on a certain level, Shavuot is like this time of looking at, wow, all those moments I had filled with meaning in life, it stems from the moment of Chavaya, of Matan Torah, of experiencing some level of receiving the Torah again. So I really wanted to, this is not something I'm just pulling out of my sleeve, I really did want to thank everyone that comes here to learn with us, and that writes and that like contributes, like the person you saw that I read you what he wrote me at the beginning of Shir. Because of what we do all year long, then like Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot exist, you know? Because of what we're doing all year long, then Shavuot, everything is meaning. There's meaning to our lives. But just remember, if you want to find meaning in all those other mitzvahs and holidays that it's not so easy for you to connect, the time to beg Hashem, the time for real davening, is Shavuos night. I don't just want to learn about Shabbos. I want to experience Shabbos. I don't just want to learn about Kibud Horim. I want to experience Kibud Horim, honoring your parents. And there's a big zgul I want you all to, if you can, this is important. When you hear the Aseret that they brought the 10 Commandments, it's not just listening to it. It's davening, begging God for the experience. What does it mean to not believe in any other God? What does it mean to keep Shabbos? What does it mean to not steal or kill? I don't know what that means. As far as I know, that's not in my blood. So why do I need to know these things? The experience of each of these Aseret Dibrot is for each and every one of our neshamas. And once I realize that, I'm facing the right direction. And you don't have to go anywhere. If you do end up doing that trek in India, that's your trip. It's fine. It's good. Don't let anyone tell you that, that's Tameh. What do we know? People, look at David Zeller, Alav Shalom. Look at anything about his life. You think if he didn't go to those places, he'd be who he was? And Sikui, there's no way. There's no chance. Hashem has a crazy trip for each and every one of us. The only thing that's important is to be conscious of, am I experiencing Hashem within what He's putting me through, or am I just an observer? And when I become an experience, it's about the chavaya for me, I live the chiddush of the Hashem Tov HaKadosh. Do you know how many people get married and then they never experience getting married again? Because they did that once. But the experience of a marriage stops the day after Sheva Brachas. Do you know how many people experience bringing their children into the world once? And after that, it's not about the experience. So we should burn away that Western mentality of achievements. Because if we do achieve at the end of the day of experiencing, Gewalt. But if we achieve and we didn't experience anything while we were working, it's a da'at, friends. It's a tree of knowledge. It's nothing. It's nothing. And this is Eitz Chaim Torah. This is the tree of life Torah. Anyway, we should be blessed to have the most meaningful, real Shavuot, the Mi Mitar Etchem, the 50th day. That day when I hear God's voice, but this time, Le'enei Kol Chai, like Rabbi Shlomo Katz, He spoke to us once at Mount Sinai, but the whole world didn't hear you. So we're asking you, Almighty, V'hu yashmi'enu b'racham avsheinu, speak to us just once more, but this time, let the whole world hear it. Let the whole world feel it. Let every human being experience what you're about, Ribbon Shalom. Thank you so much for coming, Chevra Good Yantiv. We'll see you all next week.